The funeral director looked me in the eyes and said, "We need your stepmother's consent to cremate your father." I laughed. Not because anything was funny, but because of the absurdity of it all. After everything she did to him, after all the years she tormented him, she still had power over his body. But not for long. I made sure she would never be seen as the grieving widow. In fact, I made sure no one would even remember she existed in his story. And the fallout? Absolutely worth it. If you've ever felt helpless watching someone destroy the people you love, and dreamed of finally taking the power back, then this story is for you. This isn't just revenge, it's justice years in the making. My dad died on December 1st, 2022. It's hard to even say that without my chest tightening. He wasn't just a parent, he was my rock. My quiet protector. For more than 15 years, he lived with a brutal chronic illness that slowly broke down his body. But that wasn't what hurt me the most. The real pain came from watching him suffer under the same roof as the woman he had married after my mom, the woman I was supposed to call my stepmother. From the outside, she wore the perfect wife mask. But behind closed doors, she was cold, manipulative, and narcissistic to the core. She didn't just fail him, she exploited his illness. As his mobility declined, she weaponized his weakness. She knew he couldn't leave. She knew the house meant everything to him. And she used that knowledge to trap him. While he lay in bed, aching, breathless, completely dependent, she was off on her laptop, flirting with other men. Not secretly. She would openly say they were separated, that she was planning to marry someone else. She treated their marriage like a joke. Meanwhile, she drained his accounts like they were her own personal ATM. And I had to sit and watch, helpless. I begged him to leave her. Begged. But that house, he'd worked his entire life to pay it off. It wasn't just 4 walls and a roof. It was his legacy. So he stayed. Even as she slowly chipped away at his dignity. We tried everything, legal routes, police reports, consultations. Every time, the answer was the same, it's a civil matter. No one wanted to take responsibility. No one cared. Eventually, my father gave me power of attorney. He added me to all his accounts. He knew the end was near, and he trusted me, not her. That November, I brought him into my home under hospice care. I wanted his last days to be filled with peace, warmth, and love. Not manipulation. Not cruelty. And I gave him that. I held his hand. I fed him. I laughed with him. I stayed with him until the very end. He left this world knowing he was cared for. Truly. Then came the funeral. We met with the director. My dad had made it clear, cremation. We had it in writing. But there was a catch. Because my stepmother was still legally his spouse, her consent was required. And I knew what that meant. She'd use it as leverage. She couldn't resist power, not even in death. Sure enough, she said no. Flat out, without hesitation. Just to remind me she still had control. I didn't argue. I didn't cry. I didn't plead. I simply reminded her that she'd be getting his Social Security survivor benefits, which she was entitled to anyway. That was all it took. She caved. And I cremated my father. But the real revenge was still waiting. It started with the obituary. I sat at my computer and poured my heart into every word. His accomplishments. His kindness. His passions. His unwavering strength. Then came the part where people usually write. Survived by his loving wife. I paused. And then, I deleted the entire line. No name. No mention. No trace of her. She didn't deserve it. She spent years playing the long-suffering wife to the outside world. The grieving spouse. The poor woman married to a sick man. But I knew better. And I made sure the world would, too. When the obituary went live, the response was immediate. People started calling. Why wasn't she mentioned? Weren't they still married? What happened? And when they asked, I didn't sugarcoat it. I told them the truth. I told them about the cheating. About the emotional neglect. About how she treated him like a burden. I told them everything. She called me, furious. Demanding I retract it. Screaming. But the truth doesn't come with a backspace button. She spent decades building her little house of lies. I burned it down in a paragraph. People began to distance themselves. Even some of her friends reached out to me to apologize. Some admitted they never liked her. Others said they were shocked. Her perfect image? Gone. And I didn't have to lie. I didn't have to exaggerate. All I had to do was speak the truth. I've spent years in therapy, trying to heal from what she did to both of us. And if there's one thing I've learned, it's this. If you don't want people to talk about the horrible things you've done, maybe you shouldn't do them. I don't regret leaving her out of the obituary. Not for a second. She spent my father's final years demeaning him. Draining him. She was never his partner. Never his comfort. And in the end, she didn't get to be remembered as his widow. She got exactly what she gave him, absolutely nothing, not even a name in the end.